I can't tell you how pleased I am for you to do this for me. And these documents are so precious to me
Yes.
because it's, I remember the day we left Naples, Italy, to come here, and you see this huge boat. But at that time, my dad had these 3 little kids trying to get the documents to get on that boat. That they put me in a separate room, and my dad was crying, and I couldn't understand that. They thought I had TB. So they told my dad, she's got to stay, you can go. My father said, there's just no way. We lived in a little town called Falconara. Now, my father used to talk Albanian, but as kids, we didn't know what that meant.
Right.
Well, his great-grandfather came from Albania, and the Turks were chasing the Albanians, and the Albanians decided to leave. They came over the Aegean Sea.
Right.
And they had to leave and go into another land, which was Italy. So they know that the Turks were chasing them. So they kept going higher in the mountain. So they finally got to the point of a high mountain where they can see below.
Right.
To see if they were chasing them.
Gotcha.
They didn't know what to call this village. It was nothing but rocks. There was no houses. So they looked around, and there was a bunch of hawks and falcons all up on top of this mountain with trees. And so the word Falconara means the land of falcon.
Ah.
So I didn't know any of this until my cousin did research, a third cousin.
Yep.
And they built this little town called Falconara. So that's how it flourished and grew. But that was my father's great-grandparents.
Oof. Wow. So we're talking, that's got to be 1800s?
I think it was like 1820.
Wow. Now, you told a story about being at the train station. Again.
My father, he was very well loved. My dad was a unique person. There were hundreds and hundreds of people.
Wow.
So he's in the crowd, and me and my young brothers are on the train with the doors open, waiting for my father. And they're pulling the horn. We're leaving.
All aboard.
And my dad is there, and all I know is crying. Everybody's crying.
Right.
And my grandmother, his mother, wouldn't let him go. And finally, she pulled her hair and was kind of scratching her face to, I don't know, with the anger, I guess.
Frustration, yeah.
And crying that I'm going to die and I'll never see you again. And that's exactly what happened.
Is it? I was going to ask you if that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Never, yeah.
My dad was heartbroken because him and his mother had a special bond.
Your mom came to the U.S. first?
She did, and this is what happened. My mom came into this country as an American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Her father, his mom and dad, which is my great-grandmother, they used to hire people from Italy to go pick coffee in Brazil.
Okay.
They had an agreement between South America and North America. They were considered sister countries.
Okay.
And they recognized their own citizenship.
Right.
So my grandfather was here in America, called for my mother. She had to come on her own as his child, not as a married woman.
Right.
So she made a heck of a decision to leave a 9-month-old.
Wow.
A 3-year-old. Well, yeah, and another one that was 4. How do you do that?
Wow.
Tell me that's not a sacrifice.
That's a huge sacrifice.
But they did it for us. So my dad was very brilliant in finding ways to survive. And one time he told me a story, and I think it was about 8 or 9 years old, but we were here. And my dad's property had a big spring of water. It was like a lake, but it was a spring, but it was on top of his mountain.
Yes.
So the farmers down below couldn't get access to that water. There's no other way. So my dad came up with this idea. He made these trenches from the top of the lake,
Right.
And he made these troughs, would bring it to each farmer in trade of what that farmer was growing or raising.
Yep.
So this guy got it on Monday for so many hours, and he did that. And that lake is still there and as beautiful as ever.
Wow.
And one of my cousins owns it now.
Really? It's still in the family.
It's still in the family.
Wow.
So, and then he told me a story that we had no power. So they were putting the railroad station in. So in order to have the railroads run, you have to have some sort of electricity.
Right.
So when they came to put these train station in place, the chief inspector of the country or the state, I don't know what it was, my father had a couple of houses in the village, and they approached my dad and said, "Do you have a restaurant here?" My father said, "No, we don't have a restaurant, but my wife can make you something." He's like, "Oh, all right." So my father went to my mom and said, "Put something on the table, make a meal for this gentleman because he's a very important person." My dad knew, my mom didn't know how important. Well, he was the one that decided to bring power to the train station and extended it to my father's homes.
Hey, look at there.
So to this day, when you mention my dad's name there, they can't imagine how he was the one that was the founder, and the memory of this is incredible.
And so the family now, you still have a lot of family there.
Yes, my father's side is all there.
Uh-huh.
It's still a little village. And unfortunately, the younger people today can't survive there.
They have to leave.
They have to leave. I have 2 birthdays. When I was born was May 14th, 1946. So, of course, they had midwives there, but not real midwives, people that knew how to help.
Right.
So I was born, and everything was great. I looked good. So they didn't have to call the doctor. The doctor comes 7 days later. So he checks out all the babies that were born that week. They all get the same birthday. They all have May 20th. There was 7 of us born May 20th. But how could that be?
Oh, that's
because
funny.
the doctor's certificate is what counts.
Right.
You can register them at the church. That doesn't count. You have to make it a legal document.
That's the
So
record.
to this day, when someone says to me, "When's your birthday?" I have to remember, is this a legal question or not? But
Now, how
again,
did you know that you were actually born on the 14th and not the 20th?
my mother told me.
Your mother told you.
How
Okay.
else would...
So let me ask you, your mother was in the U.S. for how long before you and your brothers and your father joined?
11 months.
11 months. Okay, so almost a full year.
Right.
And if you can, tell the story again about being there, getting on the train, and your grandmother there.
Yeah. My grandmother, when she used to take care of me, my mom was here.
Right?
So my father's mother would take care of me. One brother stayed with the other grandmother. The other brother stayed with the great-grandmother. And me being a girl, they thought it was easier to put me in a convent, which was in my mom's hometown, because I was a girl and it would be better to be with the nuns. But in reality, it wasn't.
Right.
I was with an orphanage in the convent.
Okay.
It was an orphanage and a convent.
Right.
So I had my mom's cousin used to bring me a candy bar on a Saturday,
Okay.
but I couldn't eat it in front of the orphans.
Right.
I had to come outside and go to a certain area where my cousin Georgette would meet me with this little candy bar. When my mom came here, we didn't recognize her, didn't know her.
Right. Almost a year had passed at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your life was different for a whole year.
Totally.
And
Totally.
then, yeah.
But getting back to my early memory, my great-grandmother, which is my mom's father's mother, was very strict, very strict. But I stayed with her once or twice, and I remember someone in the village had passed away.
Okay.
I think I was like 5 at that time. And during those times when someone passed away, they just put them on the kitchen table,
Right.
dining room table with flowers around them and candles. And at 5 years old, my great grandmother said to me, "You have to kiss her." But everybody was crying around this body. Why would I want to kiss her? In my mind,
Right.
it wasn't a good thing.
Right.
So she forced me, and I said, "No, no, no, no." Why? She goes, "Well, if you don't, she's going to come and pinch you tonight." Pinch me. And now I started crying. And I don't know, remember if I did kiss her or not, but that night I would hold on to my great grandmother. And we slept in the same bed. And I remember I peed the bed, waiting for this thing to come and pinch me. So I told my mom this, and she's like, "Oh my God." I said, "Ma, see, these are the things you don't know because you were here and I was there."
Right.
So,
Traumatic.
and I was
No
getting
explanation.
frustrated too in the convent or the orphans. I would bite them. Just grab an arm and bite them from anger.
Right.
So one of the nuns came and got me and said, they brought me to the church. A priest came out, and there was this little wall in front of the church, and sat me down and says, "We're going to pull out all your teeth."
The priest?
It's like, why? And I started crying, and I'm calling for my father. He's not there. So, because you're biting. So when my father came and got me I was petrified. I didn't want to go back.
Right. Yeah, right.
I mean, the priest is going to pull out my teeth. The nuns are like, they had to hide me when I had to eat foods that the orphans weren't. So now you wonder.
Sure. Yeah,
And
that's what's all.
I'm not a basket case, right?
Yeah, I was just telling that story. We went to service for Renee's uncle who passed away, and they did the celebration of life. They've updated how people experience death, right? But being raised Catholic, I just told a story of the people we were there, and I was like, okay, so here's what it's like when you're Catholic. You show up, you're young, everybody you know is crying, and you're like, what's going on? Nobody explains it to you. Nobody says, hey, listen, this is what's going to happen. You're going to walk inside. There's going to be a dead body there. You can pay your respects, but nobody says that, right? They do the you better kiss her. She's going to pinch you. And as you said it, I got a little goosebumps because I don't know if you remember, but as you said it, I remembered the first time I kissed a dead body. It's cold. It's right. You're like, oh, that's eerie. And nobody warns you that that's what it's going to be.
But
You're
in
like,
Italy,
whoa.
they didn't process the body. Remember that?
So, right. So you don't
they
even
had to
have the
bury that
embalming.
body within like 5 to 8 hours.
Yes, because it would start decomposing.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
But imagine in that kitchen that you had dinner on, and nobody eats during that time either.
Right.
To this day, I cringe when I have to go to a wake
Yes.
because it's that memory of you have to touch them. You should.
Right.
I couldn't even touch my parents and my sister because of the fear of it. Even though you're connected to them, you should, but that fear of not doing it is what I know. I'm not doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All based on one experience that has never left you.
It just, I don't think it's just me being Italian that has these. Everybody's probably experienced similarities.
Some level. I mean, the
You
Spanish have the Day of the Dead. There's all different religions and just even people that aren't religious deal with death in a different way. Yeah.
But, coming here, my cousins always envied us coming to America, that we were lucky.
Right.
And yeah, we are lucky.
When you first got here, you were in New York?
Yes. Yeah, we came on the Constitution.
Uh-huh.
We were on the ocean for 9 days.
Oof. People get sick?
And on that ship, I remember seeing my first Santa Claus, which we had no. Our Santa Claus didn't look like that. No, totally different. Our first black person,
Yep.
because we never saw that in our little village. Everybody's related to somebody in our town.
Right.
But, and my brother Rico, who was 4 at the time, and I was 5.5. So we really were sick a lot on that ship
Sure.
for about 3 or 4 days. And then that nurse lady came to help me and my dad and my brother Aldo. He was little. So we were going to eat. So we were near the dining area.
Mhm.
So my brother Rico and I, the nurse told my dad, oh, they just have to go right down there to that end of there and they'll be able to find the food. I'm like, okay, well, at 5.5, you don't let somebody walk down a corridor of a ship. They did. Well, where Rico and I are holding hands going down the aisle of the ship, and we hear these chimes. They were dinner chimes. We didn't know what that was. We just kept hearing these little chimes. So we're walking towards these chimes and knowing that we're going to be eating at the end of this hall. And around the corner comes this person dressed in white, blackface, with the chimes telling everybody that it's time to eat. Well, we'd never seen anything like this. He had a black face. He smiled, but he was dressed in white. We didn't know what it was. So we turn around and we're running back to the way we came, but now we couldn't find the door we came from.
Oh, no.
So we're both crying in the middle of this huge hall on a ship, and I'm screaming for my dad. So finally, he must have heard us. He opened the door, and I don't think we ever came out of that room again.
Yep.
Because another thought was, that's dangerous. You can't go out there. There's somebody going to come out there with ringing a chime and grabbing you. So,
Did you speak English at that point?
How old?
When you were on the ship, were you already speaking English?
Oh, no. I never spoke English until 8 months later when I was here.
Wow.
There's no way that I would have learned English.
Right.
And my dad didn't either. And my Uncle Sal, who I love him dearly, he's just passed away about a month ago. And he was 17 when I was born, and I was the first niece, granddaughter, great-granddaughter that was born. And everybody kind of hovered over me. So when I left my mom's hometown to go to my father's hometown, I was about a year old.
Okay.
And my Uncle Sal would walk or take this bicycle and come and see me every Sunday, 11 to 17 miles. And it was all mountains.
Yeah.
It wasn't no highway, it was all paths and rough. His love for me was undeniable. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing. And he always expressed that to me. The love I have for him, it's my mom's brother, youngest brother. I think I was about 7 years old, and I said to my mom, hey, Mom, did Papa die? What do you mean? No, your father's not dead. Well, I haven't seen him. So I thought he had died because why? He was working 3 jobs.
Oh, my gosh. Because your mother's not working outside of the home, right?
Oh, she was working.
Oh, she was working outside of the home, too.
She was working outside of the home. She was working in a bathing suit factory.
So the equivalent of 4 jobs. And they probably didn't complain ever, right?
Never.
They probably didn't, oh my gosh, because of you, I've got to work 3 jobs.
Never,
right?
ever. And we had a garden. The house was always clean. The food was on the table.
Right.
We never felt that we were missing anything. So when people complain compared to today, it's like, really, why doesn't everybody have to should go through this?
Right.
To understand how lucky we really are.
Yeah, the work ethic, right? And the pressure and you look at, the quote goes like this: hard times create tough people. Easy times create weak people.
Isn't that the truth?
And a lot of people feel that these are the easy times. Some people have hard times right now, there's no question. But most people, especially young people, do not have a lot of pressure on them. I mean, just imagine the pressure of, hey, my dad called me to go to the United States, so I'm going to go. You stay here with the 3 kids, and I'll see you maybe in about a year. Overnight is too long. You know what I mean? Like, what? The pressure, right, that people could endure then, right? The sacrifice, the selflessness.
I can't imagine, now that you brought that up, the discussion my parents must have had to think, what are we doing? Well, we're doing it for our kids.
Yeah.
We're going to give them a better life. But later on in life, when you see these documents and your name on it, and you're attached to somebody, and you didn't come to this world alone, you know? So it's just my way of thinking to keep it alive.
One of the reasons I love these stories is because it's an example of connecting the dots. And if you connect the dot, you can only connect the dots going backwards, right? You can't connect the dots going forward. And so if anything, if you ever see the movie Back to the Future, right? Where one thing changes and the entire future changes. And so if your mother goes to the United States and doesn't wait a year for her husband and 3 kids and just starts a new life, like, I mean, I don't know, you know, your son's in the military. I was in the military. That's military. The last thing you want to be is married in the military because you'll be gone and stuff's going to happen while you're gone. You know what I mean? So
when my mom was working at that bathing suit factory, I mean, I want to show you how the world is really small. After I was married, we bought a house in Byram, Connecticut, which is adjacent to Greenwich.
Okay, yep.
Okay. And we bought this house, and we're trying to clean it up and fix it up and move in. And a woman up the street comes down, and she's like, I know you. I says, you do? I don't know you. She said, is your name Conchetta? I said, no. My mother's name is Conchetta. Oh, my God. I worked with your mom. Did your mom work at Surf Togs? And I said, yeah. She goes, oh, my God. You were the babies that she was crying for every day at lunchtime.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Tell me that doesn't do something to you.
Right.
So my mom cried for us for 11 months. And here's this witness that tells you this.
Right.
And then it takes you back and say, my mom did that for us.
Right.
So all these little bits and pieces paint this big, beautiful world.
What would you do for your children? Anything,
God.
Right? Yeah. And that was ultimately why people came to the U.S. Like you said, you had family members that were envious because you're the lucky ones. You got to go there. You got to have the American dream.
That's right.
Yeah. Amazing. What other documents did you bring?
Well, this is our original passport, which you could tell is made of cloth.
Yes.
And there's real signatures. Nothing's printed. Everybody, all documents had to be stamped. Inspectors. You had to have proof of birth and where you're going, what dates. I mean, there was only, look at this.
Wow.
All handwritten.
Back when people knew how to write in cursive. Because that's dying
And knew how
now.
to spell.
And knew how to spell. Wow.
But I remember this in Naples.
And this is a picture.
Yeah, and this is what I did was I made a collage. Each one of us has a page.
Oh, got you.
Each page here has to represent one of the people in this photo.
Got you.
So we, I mean, look at how young.
Right? Yeah. I mean, your father even is a baby, right? I mean, I mean, you know, one of the things you said that stood out to me is, was it his father was invalid?
Yes.
Yeah. And so he had to grow up fast, right? So we glossed over that, but I went, okay, if he's an invalid, he had to grow up fast.
He did.
Right? And so here he is at whatever age, but...
And he stepped up to the plate and made that village to what it is today. And my cousins still say that the older people remember Giovanni Genovese for all that he did to make it Falconara.
Wow.
But to think is his great-grandfather came over with nothing from Albania. It's just a beautiful thing how this country was made and built by immigrants.
Right.
But unfortunately, that word is now tarnished to a degree.
Right.
It became illegal, not
illegal immigrants.
You know?
As opposed to just
it hurts.
Immigrants.
But,
right.
And the other story about, I have my birth certificate, right?
Yep.
Well, my birth certificate was in Italian. I had lost my certificate of birth.
Yep.
So for a while, I didn't know what happened to it. So my mother said to me, why don't you call your cousin in Italy and let them go get it for you. I said, oh, get a copy. Well, my cousin went and they pulled out this big, huge book in the church because it's a huge.
The records are in the church.
The records are in the church. But after you file your birth at the church, you have to go to the municipality that gives you the certificate.
State, right.
Okay. So my cousin, this happened about 15 years ago. My cousin went and she got it for me. So my paper comes and it says, Elena Chiara Genovese. I'm like, I said, Connie, this is the wrong paper. No, this is your papers. I said, but it says Chiara. I never had a middle name. She goes, I don't know what to tell you. So I went to Uncle Sal.
Right.
And I said, Uncle Sal, you were there when I was born. How come I got this name Chiara? He laughed. He goes, oh, I guess your mother never told you. I said, what didn't you tell me? Well, when you were born, your father wanted to name you after his mother. And my mother's grandmother, which is my great-grandmother, she goes, no, you're not going to name her after his mother. No. You're going to have to name her after one of our side. So my mother said, I don't want to get involved with this. So my father said, but what's wrong with my mother's name? Well, we don't want her to have your mother's name. So my poor dad was like, all right. So my mom had a favorite cousin named Elena. She was 4 years old, and my mom was in love with her little cousin. So they said, okay, we'll call her Elena. She said to my father, is that okay with you? Okay. So they gave my dad the chore of going to the church,
He stuck it on there.
document my birth.
He put it in there.
So
Middle
he
name.
says, okay, my dad says, I'll fix you all. So they said, what are we going to call this little girl? My father says, Elena Chiara Genovese. Well, the document from the church doesn't go anywhere. But the church documented it with the municipality.
Right.
So at the time we got the first birth certificate, it wasn't on there.
Ah, right.
But the one that documented from the church is where she had to get the copy.
And you just found that out 15 years ago?
15 years ago.
He's finding out right now.
I never knew. So my father's mother's name, Chiara, which I love. I remember her vividly.
Well, you know, it's funny as you're saying that. I'm like, that's something Frank would do. You know what I mean? Don't you think so? If he's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, no problem.
No problem here. There's nobody but me and God in the church. What's going to happen?
I love it.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's so good. That is
It's
so good.
funny as all heck, you know, and I got to tell you, the beautiful memories I have. There's some way, if you go to write a book, I mean, where do you just keep piecing these pieces? And somebody's got to put them all together,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, it's really, well, and then you start with an outline, right? Which that's kind of what this is, you know, so this becomes the outline. And then you when you listen to this back, you'll remember 16 things. And then that becomes the next, you know what I mean? Because you probably didn't think you were going to tell that story today, but that's a really good story. Yeah, your dad's like, all right.
I mean, I never thought of that. I never knew that. I said to my mom, "Mom, I have a middle name." Yeah. But your father did that. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me? Well, we didn't want you to know. So then my Uncle Sal says, I was there that day, and I'll tell you. And I said, okay. This is why I cherish my Uncle Sal. Throw a knife at my mother's leg to not come and hit, that she hit me, that I was doing something not good, you know. I would chew the bean and spit it in his plate, and he would eat it. And my mom was getting furious with that. So, you know, for him to do that to his sister, so I gotta tell you, everybody's got a little piece of my love and heart, and, you know. But I wish my dad and mom could come back. I never realized to this day how much I had and how much I would give to have him back one more day. Just one more day to make it, tell them thank you and how much I love them, and what they did for us was, I can't imagine anyone else doing it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So
if you still have a piece of that Catholic faith, with which I do, is that you'll see them again and be able to tell them that, right?
I hope
I
so.
still believe
I
that.
really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
This is the rock that I used to sit on when my Georgette used to bring me my candy bar. I was so into it that I didn't want to take time to take pictures it was weird.
Well, we can bring some of these cameras and we can document the whole thing. Would you go back?
Oh my
Would you?
God, I would in a
Frank
heartbeat.
just said we got to
And
do
I
a
said
road
to-
trip.
What I said to Frank, and when I went to my little cousin Erminia, she was about 11, and in my father's hometown, and I says, Erminia, Nana Chiara, which is my father's mother, used to bring me to a fountain, or not a fountain. It was like a spring coming out of a rock that they attached a faucet to. I said, down the street down there. Oh, yeah, come. I'll show you where it is. And she brought me to it, and I see this water fountain, and the water's coming out of it. And it just freaked me out because I pictured my grandmother there.
I think you do it now and you get things recorded, all of it recorded. Because even though somebody in present moment may not, so here's me, right? I just always assumed my mother would be there, always, forever. There was never a time where I ever thought about she wouldn't be here, and then cancer showed up, right? And so it literally, we wouldn't be here now if she was still alive, because I wouldn't be doing this. What do I care?
True.
And so I think as many people that are willing, I'm willing to, because you do it now, you get it all. And then if and when the moment comes, it may be, your daughter may be the one that really appreciates it the most post hosponimus, or whatever the word is, that once you go and that story, it can't be told. I don't know if you felt the magic moment. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. The magic moment is your middle name.
Oh, gosh.
Right? Today, for me, the magic, there's all kinds of magical moments, but when your son, who knows you better than anybody, had no idea about your middle name, and he learns about it in real time right now, and it's recorded forever, right? You'll always have that moment of just that. Then all of this is worth it.
When you start having more of a family life,
Yeah.
I was almost 6 when I had the whole family. See,
Right.
when you're younger and it's just parts of it, you can't put it together.
Right.
So now maybe when they're older and they go, bye-bye, I'll pencil you in for next Friday. You know what? Okay, Mom, I'll see if we can get together. That's going to hurt you.
Yes.
Big time.
Yes.
Because they're like, you don't realize how much I did for you as a child. They don't know that.
They don't. Yeah, their reality is their reality. So it's an interesting thing, and that and then there's some people never experience. One of my draws to the whole Italian thing in general was the big families, the people that lived near me, and the people I went to high school with, and the big family thing, and I'd be invited to that big family dinner, and it
was
felt
food that brought
so
everybody
good.
together.
Yes,
The
food was amazing, the people were amazing, everybody's laughing, it's a good time. The holiday parties, right? Those are always a good time.
And if you don't make the time for the good times, they're never there. As much as I love my dad, and Frank will tell you, he was a fair and honest guy, but when I wanted to marry Don, or he wouldn't let me get married to him, that wasn't a story in itself, and I don't think my kids ever knew the whole story. That was disaster. That was one of the times I almost never forgave my dad, but I have to tell you this, because this in itself is what made me marry Don, because I knew love at that moment.
Wow.
For him to go through all this. That was when when I went home that night. I don't know how. I don't remember all of that. It was so traumatizing. But Don stayed in his car, parked in front of the house, not even in the driveway, all night. Till the next day, I had to go to school.
Yep.
And he met me at the parking lot at school.
Wow.
And he said, let's elope. And I said, no, Don, I can't elope. I want to get married in a church. I want to walk on the white rug. I want my white dress. And he said, but your parents won't let you marry me. And that night, I think I went home. And that's when I said, if I don't marry Don, I'm going to be a nun.
Right. Wow.
And that was the worst week of my life.
Absolutely.
So that in itself, as I said, I love my parents dearly, but I guess it was his protection of me but he wanted me to marry Italian, was afraid that Don wasn't good enough for me
Right.
because of his father's history of drinking. There was so much going on.
Right.
But, today when I put all of this together and I'm thinking, is that where I got my strength from? It's like, I'll just keep going. Is it the faith? I don't know what it is, but
I think that Demi Moore, the actress, said it best. She said, once I realized that things happen for me instead of to me, right? So things happen to you. But she says, if I can look at it from the standpoint of things happen for me, this happened for me to be able to become the person that I am so that I could, or whatever, right? So yes, I think that everything that happens to you, and then the past also is your past, and it can't be changed. It can't be taken away from you, right? So I don't know if that moved you, but I'm moved emotionally. I mean, that
I can't tell you, what my father was thinking at that time.
right,
Because everybody in the family, I think, had so much faith and love and trust in me, in the sense of like, she's a good girl. And then all of a sudden, God forbid, it wouldn't, be that. I don't know what prompted that, but it was like to have all my relatives in the waiting room waiting for.
that's traumatic.
And the Dr. Mazuka said to my father, listen, I saved your life. And I remember hearing these words while I was in that room crying with the nurse. I saved your life, and you're not going to hurt this girl. And he goes, who are you talking to? I'm her father. He goes, yeah, but I have the power to take her away from you.
Right.
I couldn't believe, I'm saying at 17,
Right.
they could take me away from my parents.
Right.
I was all screwed up at that point.
Yeah. Hopefully it came from a place of love. Hopefully it came from a place of protection. There's no way to really know, but maybe he's doing
But
damage
to think
control.
that my husband put up with all that, too.
That is really the
I can't tell you what he means to me. And a lot of times we all have disagreements with our spouses, but I think when I forgot who I said it. I said, Don is my core, the core of my soul, because he literally stood by me.
right.
That must be love.
It's something special for sure. Right? That's something special. Just first of all, from a guy's perspective, to be there and stay there, knowing that the father is probably ready to shoot you
at any moment, but he stood
I'm
by
staying.
it.
I'm not leaving.
That's what he said.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah. We have to end there. I don't think you can top that.
I think sometimes that's what makes me what I am, and my kids can't say, well, Mom is so opinionated and so strong and so, yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why I'm the way I am. You think?
That's it.
You're not bad.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with us today,
you're welcome.
and we'll do it again.
Well, you topped mine.
That's
the
pretty
marathon
amazing.
session,
I knew it'd be great. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, well, again, who else would, not who else would want to know this, but does somebody really care?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You weren't there when you were born, and
What do you mean I wasn't there when I was born?
when Pop,
I was
wait, you weren't there when Pop came to see you when you were born.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
You weren't there when you were born.
And you were born,
Let me tell you something.
and you had your little. I think I told you, your ear lobe was tucked under when you were born, and Pop came over every day and made sure he paid the nurses to put that lobe back. Like, make sure I want to take care of my grandson. And at the time, he was the only grandson.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Beautiful.
I mean, look at how little everybody,
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso,
Yeah.
notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcissetto ad uncino d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcissetto ad uncino d'amor. Cherubino alla vittoria, alla gloria militar. Cherubino alla vittoria, alla gloria militar. Alla gloria militar, alla gloria